There are more cottages for sale in the Kawartha Lakes than there ever have been. Today, I'm going to break down the 3 reasons why the market is slow and share my predictions for spring 2026. But before we get into that, all I ask is if you learned something new today, please hit the like button and subscribe button down below. And if you want to book a call with me, you can click the first link in the description. All right, let's hop into it. So cottages aren't moving the way that they used to. And I see 3 factors behind it. The first being oversupply in the market. Currently, there are 284 lakefront properties for sale. Now, this doesn't sound like a lot until you look at the sales numbers. In August 2025, there were only 39 sales for the entire month. That means about 14% of the properties that are listed are actually selling every month. Only 14% of properties are selling every month. And this is due to oversupply. As of this recording, there have currently been 808 new lakefront properties that got listed in 2025. Now, again, this doesn't sound like a lot until you rewind the clock and look at the history. Before COVID, there were only about 300 new listings every year, and that jumped up to about 400 to 500 during COVID. Now we're at over 800 new listings for the year. This is creating an oversupply in the market with not enough demand, resulting in prices declining. The second reason cottages aren't selling is because of the lack of investment opportunity. Several municipalities in the Peterborough and Kawartha Lakes area are shutting down short-term rentals and Airbnb. I had this happen in the past week where a buyer had come from out of town and they loved one of the cottage listings and they wanted to purchase it, but they also wanted to Airbnb it throughout the season. If they weren't going to go up for 1 or 2 weekends a month, they'd love the opportunity to Airbnb it and make a little bit of extra cash. However, when they called the township, we found out that Airbnb and short-term rentals weren't allowed on that lake. So how does that actually work out in practice? Well, there are, several Airbnbs in the Kawarthas and Peterborough area on potentially, lakes that ban Airbnb and short-term rentals. Basically, if the township finds out about it, they can ask you to shut it down and they can fine you. Does that result in people not hosting short-term rentals and Airbnbs? No, people still host them on the lakes. However, it does deter buyers that maybe would have been interested in purchasing that cottage and potentially renting it out when they weren't going to visit. It deters them from going out and purchasing that cottage. So that cottage continues to sit on the market and it results in prices declining. And number 3 is happening all across Ontario right now. It's buyer sentiment. People aren't going out and purchasing cottages because they think that those cottages will be cheaper in 6 to 12 months. So why would I go out and purchase this cottage right now? Generally, a cottage is either a retirement property or it's going to be a secondary property for most of these buyers. It's going to be a true cottage that they go up to in the summer to spend time on the lake on the weekends or perhaps during the week, or it's going to be a retirement property that they sell their house and move to the lake full time. So if they believe that those cottages are going to be cheaper in the next 6 to 12 months, what's going to prompt them from making that move or making that purchase right now? There really isn't a whole lot of urgency in the market, and I see it every day when I'm talking to waterfront purchasers. They're waiting to see what happens. They think that the market is going to decline, which leads me into my prediction for spring 2026. Now, I can't see the real estate market picking up for Kawartha waterfront listings. I can't see that market continuing to increase like it did in 2021 and 2022. I think it's going to remain flat or it's going to decline, and it's simply due to that oversupply and demand not keeping up with that supply. I think that basically all of the cottages that are currently for sale right now, if they don't sell by October, which odds aren't looking good because only about 14 to 15% of cottages are selling every single month. So if they don't sell in September or October, they're going to relist their property in the spring. This is pretty typical. We'll see a property that's been on the market for the summer. It didn't get an offer. Maybe it got an offer, but it didn't get an accepted offer. It continues to sit during September and October, and then they cancel the listing over the winter and relist it sometime in April. So I believe all of those cottages that don't sell this year are going to come to the market next year. That's going to compound, and it's going to result in that new listing number being above 800 for the year of 2026. And I don't think the demand is going to be there yet, because if that supply continues to increase and the demand does not, that is a recipe for prices continuing to fall. Well, that's all for me. I hope you liked this video. If you would like specific personalized advice for your particular property, please click the first link in the description below to book a call with me. I'd love to chat with you. And if you like this video, you might like the video I made on the Bank of Canada's most recent rate drop. Click here to check it out. Talk soon.